Hey guys, what is going on? I'm back with a new video. We can see that with the rise of AI and large language models, many services are being commercialized and brought into the market every single day. It's about time we make a little change and we make the game to the next level. These services that are coming to the market are very promising and they offer many cool and amazing features to work with text and voice inputs. I believe most of you are already paying a small premium to use these services or you're using the trial version to check out what they offer. But what is stopping you guys from building an AI service of your own, build a product around your idea and bring it to market or for your personal use or commercializing it? If you're already doing it, excellent. If you're in doubt and if you don't know how to do it, then this channel is all about generalizing the adoption of AI and helping users like you to build AI products using data and other services. So getting into what we are going to build as an end product. So we are going to build a streamlit app which actually paraphrases an input paragraph. So we can input any paragraph from the web. So I'm going to take the paragraph from LangChain page. So this paragraph, if you want to rephrase it using GPT, you can enter the API key for your GPT service and you can enable the GPT service and it is going to paraphrase this and it will give you the output. So this is what the GPT has paraphrased this input as. If you want to use AI21 to paraphrase this, you can simply enable AI21 and it will paraphrase the paragraph using AI21's API service. If you want to use both of them, simply enable both and it will paraphrase using both of the services using LangChain's sequential chains. So this is the output that has been paraphrased first by GPT and the paraphrase input is then passed to AI21 API and then it is again rephrased and this is the end output that we get. So this is the end product that we are going to build and we are going to see the code and I'll go walk you through how you can develop and build something like this and you can commercialize by adding more complex features just by following the LangChain documentation. So let's get into it. So the high level overview is that we are going to use LangChain. LangChain is nothing but a Python framework that has come into market recently. It has many amazing features to develop and commercialize large language models, like building services out of large language models. So LangChain is nothing but a simple service that helps us to do API calls behind the scenes to all these large language models, and it enables us to chain the outputs from those large language models and process them and build a complex advanced services that solves a problem in a particular niche or it solves a generalized problem. So LangChain offers many of the services, like it has models and it has prompts. Every large language model is based on a prompt. Prompt is nothing but the input that we pass. So we are going to structure our prompts accordingly and we are going to pass them to the language models through the API and the language model will do the job behind the scenes and it will send us the response back. LangChain will help us to parse that response and we can use that to connect them to the other chains or we can simply display it to the end users in the front end. So the main focus of this demonstration is going to be on chains, how we can use the chains, and it is going to be mostly on models. We are going to use few language models. So these models, I'll show which models we are going to use. Yeah, if we go to the Python, we are going to see many models here. If we click on the integrations, we have AI21, we have many models to use from, and the documentation is pretty decent and it's very clear on how to use them. So we are going to use AI21 model, which is nothing but a service that helps us to paraphrase a given paragraph or it have many other features, and we are going to use openai's model, which is nothing but ChatGPT, to build this end product. Alright, let's start building it up. First thing we need is to install Streamlit. We are going to host our service on the Streamlit, so I have already installed it. You guys can run the same pip command and you'll get the Streamlit installed in your virtual environment. Alright, let's import the Streamlit now. Okay, let's just add a title for now. this is a decent title for now. So let's run the Streamlit app. Machine learning it isn't. And LangChain Paraphraser. Alright, now we'll get our browser and we'll see the Streamlit app. Okay, so this is our Streamlit app. Let's do it side by side. So first thing, let's add some columns so that we can accept the API tokens for GPT and AI21. So we can simply call column 1 and column 2 streamlit dot columns, and we need 2 columns. Okay, so on column 1 we'll add a text input to accept the API key, and it should have, let's name it, enter the ChatGPT API key. Okay, let's rerun this. Yeah, we have the input for the API key. Let's do the same for AI21 key as well. Column 2 AI21. Alright, we have both the keys. Now let's add checkboxes just to enable them, and we can use them accordingly. Streamlit dot checkbox, and let's call this checkbox enable GPT, and do the same for AI21. Okay, we have both the checkboxes. Just to make this unique, let's give them key values so that the app will know which one is running. If we don't provide the key values, then the state for GPT key and the state for AI21 key will be same. They both will be either true or they'll be false, because there is no distinction between both the checkboxes. So Streamlit wants it to be distinguished. So let's give this key as 1. Okay, yeah, so if we enable this, we will get the response from the Streamlit either true or false. So let's call this AI21 enable. Is it enabled or not? And let's call this AI21 API key. So the input box will return a string, whatever the API key that we pass in, and we are going to capture the string in this API key variable. Let's call this GPT API key and GPT enabled. So this would be fine for now. Okay, we have our columns. So next thing is we need an input text box where we can take the input from the user, whichever paragraph they want to paraphrase. So for that, let's add an text area for us. So let's call this st.text area. You can use text input. Let me show that text input, and let's give this label input your paragraph graph. Sorry, yeah. So this will give us an input field, but this is not dynamic. We can't move or whatever we keep adding. Like if we add text to this, right, it will overflow. We can't see the complete text. So if we use text area, that would be a better option for us and the users to see what is happening, and we can paste it and we can expand it if you want. So let's go with text area for now. Let's call this input text. We have to get the input text from the user so that we can pass it to the models and paraphrase them as we go. Okay, this is fine for now. So the main part comes in. We have to build the LLM models, and we have to add the input text to the LLM model and pass the API keys and which API key to pass when these checkboxes are enabled. So let's do the imports from the LangChain. So you have to install LangChain as well. You can simply do pip install LangChain. This will install the LangChain for you. Let me verify the command once. Okay, introduction, and let's go to Python docs. and here it should have installation. Yeah, pip install LangChain is enough. You can run this and it will install the LangChain for you. As I've already done it, I'm not gonna rerun it again. So I'm gonna import from LangChain.llms. We can import our both large language models. One is OpenAI and other is AI21. So these are the two models that we'll use and build up our end product. And we are going to import prompts as well, where we are going to structure our prompts, which are nothing but inputs, and we will predefine what the model has to do with the input that user provides. Let's import prompt template, and we are going to import chain as well from LangChain dot chains, import LLM chain, and let's import simple sequence chain as well, where we are going to chain the OpenAI response to the AI21 response and paraphrase them in sequence. So this is fair enough. And we need OS as well. So OS, we need it to set the environment variable so that the models that we pass are going to find for the keys in the environment. Whichever environment you're running your code in, they're going to search for a particular key through that environment, and it will pass that API key to the model. So I'll show how it works, but let's create a prompt first. Let's create a GPT rewrite prompt. So this will be our template for GPT prompt. So this prompt template will accept basically two things. One is input variables, like what are the input variables that you want the prompt to receive. Like we can call this input, or you can name it anything you want, and you have to pass the template. This template will be the predefined prompt, like rewrite the paragraph and correct the grammar mistakes. So this will rewrite, this is the predefined prompt that we are using, and we are going to pass the input. So this input variable is nothing but the input that we are passing here, and whatever the user passes into this input field will be fed as an input to this prompt, pre-written prompt. You can design, structure your prompt any way you want, and this prompt will basically restructure it, and it will give us the response according to the input prompt that we provide. So this is for GPT prompt, and let's do the same for AI21 prompt as well. I'm going to keep this prompt simple. There is no limitation on what you can add in the prompts and how you can restructure them. I'm just keeping it simple. You can build a chatbot using this. You can have some predefined prompts, and users can choose from a drop down of selections, and you can give them responses accordingly to the selection that they make. And it's all about how you structure your prompts, and you can chain them, and you can pass them to the large language models and get the response and feed it to the front end. So let's call this simply paraphrase the paragraph. So this will paraphrase the paragraph in the input field, whatever is there. You can again make it more specific, like adding paraphrase the paragraph in triple quotes, and you can add triple quotes around your inputs, and it will paraphrase this. But this is again adding an extra step which LangChain already does for us. But if you add that, that will be more safe for you guys to know that your logic is working as expected, and not to be reliant on the LangChain to do the business behind the scenes. So let's call this input paragraph, just so you know that what is happening and how LangChain is working. Paragraph. Okay, let's rename the input variable. So we have our prompt templates, both are ready for us to feed to the large language model. So first thing we have to do is we have to set the environment variable, which is nothing but os.environ, and this environment variable name is predefined. You have to pass it in that specific naming format, openai API key. This is how it should be, and the LLM, the LangChain, will look for this specific environment variable, and it will pass that as an API key to the model when it is running. So we can pass our GPT API key, oh my bad, typo. So let's pass the GPT API key to the OpenAI API key. So this is good, and we can simply run the LLM by calling OpenAI, and the API key is already passed to those OpenAI method. So we just have to pass the temperature. Temperature is nothing but how random you want your responses to be, and how you'll get variety of answers if you increase the temperature. So it ranges from 0 to 1. You can add 0, or you can add 0.9 if you want to introduce more randomness to your responses. Or if you keep it 0, it will give you accurate results, and it needs a little time for the model to write your response. So this is good for now. So let's run this. It is actually trying to connect to the language model, and we can see there is an error because it didn't find any API key. So let's wrap this into a try except condition for now, just in case if users doesn't provide any input, we don't want them to see the validation error. So let's keep it as, let's simply pass it. So if we rerun now, it will do the job, but it will wait for the API key to come in, and it will rerun once you pass the API key. So we have this. We can do the same for other AI21 as well. It's as simple as that. So we can simply say, if this is enabled, we are going to call the OpenAI model. If enable AI21 is enabled, we are going to call another condition. So we can simply wrap this in an if else condition. If GPT enabled equal to true. So as I said, the checkbox will return a boolean response, so we can simply add an filtering condition, and we can do this behind the scenes. So if this is true, we are going to run this, and else if AI21 enabled equal to true, we are going to run completely different model. So let's put this back, and we are going to pass this. This needs a specific API key, which is nothing but AI21 API key, and let's change the API key variable to AI21, and temperature is also same. We have to change the model here, AI21, and this will run accordingly as per we enable these two. So if this is enabled, this will run. If this is enabled, this will run. Okay, so good, so far so good. So we have our models defined. We have to just pass the prompts and use them in the LangChain's LLM chain method. So the way we can do it is, we can simply call an LLM chain method, and we can pass our LLM. Here our LLM is either OpenAI or it is AI21. So first I'm going to pass LLM will be our LLM. So the reason I'm keeping the name of both variables same is because we have to pass one, and with that we have to pass the prompt, whatever the prompt we want the LLM to be fed with. So we'll pass GPT prompt first, GPT rewrite prompt, and this will rewrite the prompt for us, and we can simply run this now. Let's put this into a variable called chain, and we can run the chain like chain dot run, and we have to pass the input, right? We are going to use the input whatever user is providing. So where is our variable? Input text. This will be the input. This will be the input for this prompt, which is being fed to the model. So let's have this in an variable again, output, and after running this we'll get an output. We can simply put it as streamlit text and display it to the user, text output. Okay, let's run this. It says LLM is not defined. Okay, let's try enabling both and see. Okay, maybe this is also throwing an error because we have no environment variable and we are not passing it, so the LLM is not being defined. So let's add this as well in a try except condition for now, just to avoid the error, and this would work perfectly fine once we add the API key here. So this is not enabled, so disable this, and let's bring the API key and let's run this with the API key. So let me add the API key for ChatGPT and hit enter. this will run and this will output something for us. It's actually connecting to the model, and yeah, this is also a response that we got. This is the response that says we have divided this documentation. This is a totally different input that we passed and we got a different output. Let's do the same for AI21 as well. So we have this condition, but for that we need to add again conditions to see which one is enabled, right? If GPT is enabled, we have to run GPT prompt. If an AI21 is enabled, we have to see for AI21. So we can do GPT enabled is true and AI21 enabled is false. Let's run this and let's not output anything at the moment. Let's take the input from this. Okay, this looks fine, and we can simply have a text which says what is happening. So we can say this is our GPT response. This is your GPT paraphrased response. Okay, this looks good. And else, if GPT enabled is false and AI21 enabled is true, we will run. Let's remove this. False. We will run LangChain with the AI21 prompt. And if this is enabled, right, if this is true, then we will get the LLM as this one. We don't have to worry about which LLM to pass. So LLM will be picked based on the above condition. So this will be fine. This is your AI21 response. And lastly, if both are enabled, I'll say if GPT enabled true and AI21 enabled true. Okay, if this is true as well, let's define our LLMs again here. Let's say GPT chain is our LLM for GPT. So this will take LLM equal to LLM prompt equal to GPT rewrite prompt. Okay, and our AI21 chain, let's call this AI21 chain. This will again be a language model chain which will take LLM chain LLM equal to LLM, and prompt will be AI21 prompt. Okay, we have both the chains now. All we have to do is to chain them together. We can use a simple sequence chain class from the import that we did earlier, and we can pass the chains that we want to chain them together. So this will be chained in the sequence that we pass. So we'll pass GPT chain first, and we'll take the response from the GPT chain and we'll pass the AI21 chain, and we'll simply put verbose equal to true just for us to see what is happening in the output. True. So I don't know why I keep messing up the true spelling. And we can simply add a text again. This will say that this is your GPT and AI21 response. Okay, we have a response. So all we need to do is pass the responses and texts into the streamlit at the end. Whichever condition passes, we'll take that variable and we'll pass it to the streamlit. So we'll pass the text first, which says what condition have run, and we'll pass the output next. Output. All right, this looks good so far. So let's rerun this. So now API GPT is enabled. It says this is your GPT paraphrase response. So if we are to get the API key from AI21, let me go to the studio and get the key. Just a moment. Okay, so here we have the key for AI21. Let's remove this. Let's enable AI21 and it will run automatically. So it will give us the response for AI21 now. Yeah, it says this is your AI21 response, and it has paraphrased it in different way. And if we are to enable both of them, let me get the key for GPT once again, and we can feed them both at once. And this is the GPT key, and I'm going to enable the GPT. It's gonna say that this is your GPT and AI21 response. And why are we not seeing any output? What did we mess up? Okay, I'm really sorry, my bad. I haven't run the chain actually, so we are not having any output here, right? We have to say chain.run input text, and this would do the job now, and we should see the response. Yeah, we can see the verbose response that we are getting from the chain. It says entering the chain. This is the response we got from the GPT, and which is being fed to the AI21 chain, and this is the response from the AI21 chain. You can link as many LLMs as you want through the chains, and there are many chain options that LangChain offers, and you can simply chain any number of chains together and get your responses out. This is the end product that we were aiming at achieving. So I think this was useful for you guys, and you have learned something on how to use LangChains and how you use the language models that the LangChain already offers, and you can run them based on your use case. So if you go to model AI and you can go to language models, you will see all the available language models here under the LLM section, and under integrations you will see all the language models. You can use them based on your use case, and you can chain them accordingly and pass the prompts, and the documentation is pretty neat, so you can I believe you can achieve more by following the documentation. So thanks for sticking around till the end, guys. I hope this was useful. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you'll get more of this amazing content as we go along, and I'll keep posting better videos and how you can better yourself with AI and data. Thank you very much.